You wake up. Your hand moves before you think. The screen is already there, waiting. You didn't decide to open it. Your thumb just knew. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, whatever you call it now. You're scrolling, not because you want to, not because something matters. You're scrolling because not scrolling feels worse. You tell yourself it's nothing, a reflex, 5 minutes. But here's the thing, you're irritated, not entertained, not relaxed, irritated at the content, at yourself, at the fact that you're still here. You see a post that annoys you. You keep scrolling. Another one. Worse, you keep scrolling. Something designed to outrage you. You feel it rise in your chest, and you keep scrolling. Why? Because stopping feels harder than continuing. Because silence, actual silence, feels hostile now. Like the room is too big, like your thoughts are too loud. So you fill the space with noise, with strangers, with the same 15 emotions recycled every 30 seconds. You don't enjoy this, but you don't stop. You feel pulled, not persuaded, not convinced. Pulled, like something is watching you through the glass, and you're not sure anymore. Are you the one watching, or are you being watched? You lock your phone. 10 seconds pass. You unlock it again. You weren't even thinking about it. Your hand just moved, and now you're back in. The feed is different now. Same structure, different faces, but the feeling is the same. That low hum of anxiety, that quiet sense that you're missing something, that if you stop, even for a moment, you'll be left behind, unseen, forgotten, erased.
Here's the question you don't ask. Why does waiting without stimulation feel like punishment? Why does stillness feel like failure? Why does being alone with yourself feel dangerous? You used to be able to sit in a room and just exist. Now, existing isn't enough. You need proof, a notification, a like, a sign that you still matter. You're not using social media, you're participating in it. And participation has a cost.
Let's talk about yesterday. You woke up feeling fine, neutral, calm. Then you opened the app. 5 minutes later, you were angry. Not at anything specific, just angry. At the world, at people you've never met, at ideas you didn't care about an hour ago. Where did that come from? You scroll past a video, someone crying. You don't know them, you don't know their story, but you feel it. That tightness in your throat, that weight in your chest, you feel it. Another swipe, someone screaming into the camera, righteous, furious. You feel that too. Your heart rate picks up, your jaw clenches. You didn't choose this, but now it's yours. Here's what's happening. You're not just seeing emotions, you're absorbing them. The algorithm knows this. It doesn't show you what you want, it shows you what makes you react. Outrage, sadness, fear, envy, one after another, faster than you can process.
And your nervous system, your ancient reactive animal brain, can't tell the difference between real danger and performed danger, between genuine emotion and curated emotion. So it treats everything as real, and you feel everything with the crowd, through the crowd, instead of yourself. You didn't think this thought yesterday. You didn't care about this last week. Now it feels urgent, personal, moral. But why? Because you saw 12 people say it? Because the algorithm amplified it? Because it felt true in the moment? You're synchronized now. Your emotional state is no longer yours alone. It's crowdsourced, algorithmic, scheduled. You feel angry at 9 a.m. because that's when outrage content peaks. You feel sad at night because that's when the confessionals flood in. You feel anxious on Sunday because everyone else does. And the strangest part? You don't notice. You think it's you, your mood, your thoughts, your beliefs. But if you trace it back, if you really look, where did it start? With you or with the feed? Carl Jung called this participation mystique, a state where the boundaries between self and other dissolve, where you lose the ability to tell where you end and the collective begins. In tribal societies, this was sacred, ritual, temporary, controlled. Here, it's permanent, and no one told you it was happening. You're not watching content, you're merging with it. Your emotions aren't your own anymore, they're shared. And sharing sounds beautiful until you realize you can't turn it off.
Let's stop pretending. This isn't influence, this is occupation. You are no longer alone in your head. When you form an opinion now, is it yours or is it something you absorbed from a thread, a video, a comment section you scrolled through at 2 a.m.? You can't tell anymore, and that should terrify you because you've outsourced your judgment, your memory, your sense of what matters. You don't remember things anymore. You remember screenshots of things. You don't think through problems. You wait to see what the consensus is, what the crowd believes, what feels safe to say. And here's where it gets dark. When everyone feels something, no one owns it. The rage you feel, it's not yours, it's the crowd's, passed through you like electricity through wire. You're a conduit, not a person.
The cruelty you witness, the humiliation, the dogpiling, the tearing apart of strangers for sport. You watch it. Sometimes you participate, and you feel nothing, not guilt, not discomfort, because everyone else is doing it too. And if everyone's doing it, how can it be wrong? This is the shadow, Jung's term for the parts of yourself you don't want to see, the rage, the envy, the sadistic thrill of watching someone fall. On social media, the shadow doesn't stay hidden. It's projected outward onto others. You don't see yourself as cruel. You see them as deserving it. You don't feel responsible because the crowd gave you permission. Participation mystique doesn't just blur your emotions, it erases your boundaries, your sense of self, your ability to stand apart and say, no, this isn't me, I don't want this. But you can't, because saying no to the crowd means standing alone, and standing alone feels like death. Ask yourself, would you still believe this if you were alone? Would you still say it offline? Would you still feel it without witnesses? Pause. Think about that. Because if the answer is no, then whose life are you living? When you post something, is it because you mean it or because you know what will perform well? When you react to something, is it genuine or is it the expected reaction? You've become a performer in a play you didn't audition for, and the audience is everyone and no one. You don't know who's watching, but you know you're being watched, and that changes everything. You edit yourself, not consciously, but constantly. You become the version of yourself that gets seen, that gets liked, that gets validated. And the real you, the one who exists in silence, starts to fade, because unseen feels unreal, and unreal feels unbearable. You try to pull back, observe yourself, catch the moment before you react, before you post, before you merge. But observation changes nothing. You still do it. You post, you react, you perform.
Even your silence becomes a statement. Why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you share this? Don't you care? There is no neutral position, no place to stand outside the ritual, because the ritual is total. You're in it even when you're not looking, even when your phone is off, because you're thinking about it, what you'll say next, what you should have said, what they'll think if you don't say anything at all. Your inner voice, the one you used to trust, sounds different now. It sounds like them, the crowd, the feed, the algorithm trained on 1 billion reactions just like yours. Who is speaking when you speak? Is it you, or is it the echo of 1,000 voices you've absorbed? Jung warned about this, the dissolution of the ego, the false self that rises in its place. A self that exists only in reflection, only in response, only when seen. You feel real when someone likes your post. You feel validated when someone agrees. You feel alive when your notification count goes up. But when it's quiet, when no one's watching, you feel empty, anxious, like you're disappearing. That's the trap. You've tied your existence to external validation, and external validation is infinite. It never satisfies. It only creates hunger. More posts, more reactions, more proof that you matter. But no amount is ever enough, because the self you're building, the one made of likes and shares and viral moments, isn't real. It's a construct, a shadow puppet cast on the wall.
And when the light goes out, when the feed stops, what's left? Do you even know? You used to have hobbies that no one saw, thoughts you didn't share, feelings you didn't perform. Where did they go? Are they still there? Or did you trade them for visibility, for relevance, for the brief flickering comfort of being seen? The room is quiet now. Your phone is dark. You're alone with yourself, and it feels wrong, like something's missing, like you're incomplete. You reach for the phone, not because you want to, because the silence is unbearable.
You can see it now. The ritual, the mechanism, the way participation mystique dissolves your boundaries and replaces them with the crowd's voice. You see it, but that doesn't remove you from it. Awareness is not freedom. Knowing you're in a cage doesn't open the door. It just makes you conscious of the bars. Participation mystique doesn't end when exposed. It ends when boundaries return. And boundaries are painful, lonely, quiet, unrewarded, because boundaries mean saying, no, I won't perform, I won't merge, I won't trade my inner life for validation. And the crowd punishes that, with silence, with irrelevance, with the cold, creeping fear that maybe you don't exist if you're not seen. But here's the truth. If your thoughts need witnesses to feel real, if your feelings only matter when they're shared, if your existence depends on a number going up, then whose life are you living? Not yours. The feed's.
The algorithms, the collectives, you've been possessed, not by a demon, by a system, a ritual of visibility, of constant exposure, of psychic merger disguised as connection. And the only way out, the only real way, is to reclaim the inner voice, the one that speaks in silence, that thinks without an audience, that exists whether anyone sees it or not. But no one will congratulate you for that. No one will like it. No one will share it, because it's yours. And what's yours can't be commodified, can't be synchronized, can't be fed back into the machine. So the question remains, can you bear it? The silence, the solitude, the unwitnessed self. Can you exist without proof, without validation, without the constant, reassuring hum of the feed telling you you're real? I don't know.
Neither do you, but now you've seen it. The screen isn't just watching you, it's inside you, and it won't leave just because you noticed it.